What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that your weekend is off to an incredible start. Today is Friday, October 10th, 2025, and the Philadelphia Eagles were utterly embarrassed on Thursday Night Football. I don't have any real beef with the Philadelphia Phillies. As a Houston Astros fan, my team beat them in the World Series. But by extension, I think a lot of us don't like the Phillies because of the Eagles and whatnot. So, from a hate watch standpoint, Thursday was phenomenal, right? What with the Phillies being eliminated, albeit in just tragic fashion, that was horrible to watch. I don't care who you root against. That was just absolutely horrible. And then the Eagles getting absolutely humbled on Thursday Night Football. And within the humbling, a tush push situation reaching such a critical mass that I've never really had a problem with the tush push, and I think this is kind of the popular opinion. I don't want it in the NFL if it's going to lead to what we saw on Thursday night. If you're going to tush push 4 straight times, that's Bush League. That's lame. Get it the hell out of here. And so they kind of exposed themselves in that sense. Also, the never ending drama with their superstars. We're not here to talk about the Eagles, but it is awesome to kind of get the weekend started with a chance for the Cowboys to make up some ground. Obviously, they've been chasing the Eagles for the better part of a year now, what with the 2024 season, and obviously Philly winning the Super Bowl. You got to give credit where it's due, but that credit is starting to dissipate. So shout out, of course, forks up to my man Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart. Even the New York Giants were. I know it was annoying for a division rival to look good, but it was a lot of fun, I think, from a Cowboys perspective. And it gives us, like I said, an opportunity for the Cowboys to win on Sunday on the road against the Carolina Panthers and just kind of continue to build upon this, right? And then who knows, maybe we get lucky. The Bears beat the Commanders on Monday Night Football. The Cowboys host the Commanders next week. Like, life is crazy in football season because you can go from everything being perfect to everything being totally on fire or vice versa in the blink of an eye. And as an example of that, I said forks up. Sam Levitt, ASU quarterback, like out of nowhere on Thursday night, the news that he's not going to play on Saturday night against Utah. I mean, it's just a never-ending roller coaster of emotion, which is why we're here together with one another to survive it all. And in case you want to survive with me across any level of social media, you can do so. I'm on X, Instagram, and Threads at RJ Ochoa, TikTok, RJ.Ochoa. Email is rj.ochoa@sbnation.com if that is more your thing. You can obviously leave a comment down below, and I'll do my best to get to those. Also, please, if you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe, tell a friend. Those things are very much appreciated. I'm here every single day talking about the Dallas Cowboys, live shows, post-game shows, all that fun stuff. And that means, of course, I'll be back on Sunday following the game for our post-game show. But we will have the video up on Saturday here on the channel, Dallas Cowboys in Espanol, which is entirely in Spanish. Today, Friday, we're talking final thoughts ahead of the game. We do this every week and just kind of organize what's rattling around in our brain, how we're feeling about the game. And I think that this is the general consensus. I think that, we know that in the NFL, unpredictable, crazy things can happen. So I don't think any of us are arrogant enough to say, oh, the Cowboys are going to take care of business. They're going to walk all over the Panthers, whatever, because we've said that before. In fact, I would offer that we said that a few weeks ago when Dallas went to Chicago. But I think that we think that the Cowboys should go to Charlotte, should take care of business, should put together their first winning streak of 2025 and should put themselves in a legitimate position to survive the final few games before the bye. And if they're able to do that, then as we've been saying for a couple of weeks now, as they picked up wins or picked up the tie against Green Bay, anything is possible. And I mean this with no disrespect to the Carolina Panthers, but ultimately seasons come down to doing what you're supposed to do and a few other things, obviously. But this is one of those games where the Cowboys are supposed to win. They're favorites on the road. They were favorites on the road last week against the New York Jets. They did what they were supposed to do, but they were favorites in the aforementioned Bears game on the road and did not take care of business. And when you don't take care of business, you got to make up for it elsewhere. And you can't, really get away from yourself too much because then all of a sudden you're burning up your opportunities. So you have to maximize and capitalize on the ones that show up, like this game for Dallas on Sunday against Carolina. And I think that we all think ultimately, because of the play of Dak Prescott, Javonte Williams, George Pickens, the aggression we've seen from Ryan Schottenheimer, the defense improving a little bit, it should be a win for the Cowboys. But again, it is the NFL. And if it is a win for the Cowboys, again, we would be going into Monday Night Football, and we'll, of course, talk a few times between now and then. But I mean, let me just paint you a little picture here, right? We're already levitating, and I think the whole NFL world is pointing and laughing at the Eagles, which makes it feel a lot more fun for us. But we'd be living in a world where the Eagles lost, the Giants are still a ways away, but obviously, it is a bummer that they've turned this ship around. The Cowboys would have gotten a win on Sunday, and then again, maybe the Commanders lose on Monday Night Football. So now all of a sudden, you've got an Eagles team that's 4-2. At that point in time, you'd have a Commanders team that's 3-3, and you'd have a Dallas team that's 3-2-1. They would be right in the thick of it. And I don't know that, look, this happens a lot because the NFL is a weekly round of games, right? We get a few days, right? We get Tuesday and Wednesday every week to kind of process and figure out, how we feel about things. And then it changes, or maybe it stays the same for a little while. But I think that we are now starting to the Eagles have a track record that kind of speaks for itself, and they could ultimately fix whatever they have going on and, be totally fine and repeat as NFC East champions, be the first team to do so in over 20 years, whatever. But I think that Thursday night is exciting for Dallas Cowboys fans beyond the trolling aspect, in that it means the NFC East could conceivably be there for the taking. And if the Cowboys are able to take care of the appropriate level of business, if the Cowboys are able to go toe to toe with Washington, then it could be, or could, lead to an opportunity for Dallas to potentially win the division themselves. And I think that the kind of heartbeat of that idea, the kind of catalyst of that idea, is that Dallas has the best player of all four teams right now in Dak Prescott. He is playing better than anybody is at their respective position. And obviously the value of that is inherently larger for Dak because he's a quarterback. But as long as the Cowboys have that, they're going to stand a fighting chance against anybody, but specifically their division rivals. And if Philadelphia is dead set on imploding the way they seem to be, then that creates an even larger opportunity for the Cowboys to potentially leapfrog them and take over the NFC East and win it for the first time since 2023. And that's fun. That's exciting, right? Like, and that's kind of what I talked about. And that's kind of how I feel going into this Panthers game. And it's difficult to not look past it, because even the things that I've been saying right now are a little bit, about things beyond what this game offers. But it's an addicting sort of thing, right? To start to let your mind race and let your mind jump ahead and to envision what it looks like if you get the win, but you have to get that win, right? And just, to kind of use the Bears game as another example again. I mean, imagine if the Cowboys had taken care of that business. We'd be talking about a team that right now would be 3-1-1 and would have a chance to go match the Eagles in wins, but they don't have that opportunity because they weren't prepared. They lost that game and they got punched in the mouth. And I think that we use the word or the phrase trap game a lot in sports society. I don't know that I view this as a trap game, but this is definitely a game where the Panthers have nothing to lose, right? And the Panthers are starting to kind of feel themselves a little bit. If they were to win this game, they'd get to 500. They obviously have a quarterback who's still trying to establish his identity in the NFL, similarly to Caleb Williams, obviously. And I think the most dangerous thing you can do in games like that is you can give them a chance. And I think that Thursday night's a great example of that, right? New York is able to score early and get up early and then kind of punch down at Philadelphia throughout that contest. And you put the Eagles in a situation where they specifically are unfamiliar with in terms of being down, in terms of being the ones who are getting punched on. And it's just difficult. And in moments like that, you have to play perfectly. And that's kind of what happened to Dallas against Chicago, right? You get down, you get in a hole, you're facing 10, 17-point deficits. And now you've got to be more aggressive. Now you got to take more chances. You have to be more risky. And when you do things like that, it opens up opportunity for negative outcomes. And so ultimately for me, this game is about keeping everything in front of them for the Cowboys. And I think they did a great job of that, to use an example opposite of the Bears game. And this is kind of a duh proposition, but they did a great example, or did a great job of that last week against the Jets. Against New York, Dallas just took what came to them, just did not panic, didn't try to hit any kind of home runs, just kind of, again, understood if we keep getting on base, good things are going to happen. And I think that, when you do that over and over and over and over again, the dam breaks. And that certainly happened for Dallas against New York. And then again, you put the Jets in a situation where near the end of that first half, they fumble and you're able to go capitalize on it. You score, and then they're really swirling and you're able to get the ball back, and the big Javonte Williams run, and you score again, and the game is over by halftime. It can be that fast. And so this has to be that. You simply cannot get in over your skis. You can let the RJs and all of us of the world kind of do the dreaming and wondering and looking ahead to the Commanders and whatnot. And I think that I think the Cowboys coaches and players and this whole organization, this version of the organization, I think they've earned that benefit of the doubt. I think we're seeing that. I think that we're seeing phenomenal game planning from them. Clayton Adams continues to obviously shine so far. The Cowboys have the second best success rate in terms of early down runs so far this season across the entire NFL. And the Cardinals have the worst, right? Like that is pretty representative of what the Cowboys were able to pluck away from Arizona. And so to have weaponry like that, to have staffers and coaches and coordinators who are able to devise and put together game plans, I think that helps keep everything in front of you, to stick with the verbiage that we've been using here, to the point that you don't try too hard, you don't mess up, you don't get in over your head. And so this is it is incredibly cliche, but this is a big game for the Cowboys, and that it's the next game, and you have to stack these together. You cannot allow yourself to again say, well, the Eagles lost, and if we just do this, we take care of business, we move on, whatever. Like, it is super easy. And I put my hand up. I've already done that, and you've already done that, right? Like, that's kind of the fun part about being a fan. But the moment those things start to seep in and get real is the moment things kind of tend to go haywire. And so, again, I think the Cowboys have established a culture that proves that they're not going to be that way, that they're going to be methodical and controlled and humble and patient and take these things. And it sounds very cliche, again, I realize, but week to week. And so you simply can't beat in this case, the Washington Commanders on Sunday. You can only beat the Carolina Panthers, and you've got to go do that for that Washington game to have even more meaning. Because if you allow yourself to daydream too much and not be present, not be in the moment, then you burn that opportunity, and then you put yourself in a bigger hole when you're in the game that you're ultimately kind of looking ahead to. And I think the Cowboys have, again, really established that that's not the way they're going to operate. They have seemed, we're only 5 games in here, but to take things in a really moderate way and a moderate pace. And that's exciting to know and to understand and to believe that, they have a proper plan, and that they're able to execute it, that they are executing it in a phenomenal way. But yeah, those are my final thoughts. Just kind of a lot of rambling, a lot of jumbled thoughts, if you will, but that's the whole point. We've kind of reached a place where, I think, I guess if I have one more, I truly, and I mentioned this to James this week when we chatted with him, I was not at all bothered by the Rico Dowdle thing. I still feel like I'm seeing a lot of this. Like, if Rico Dowdle really feels some type of way, that doesn't bother me, and I wish him success. Rico Dowdle played well for the Cowboys. I don't hold any beef towards Rico Dowdle. So that's been a weird storyline that I would not have anticipated coming into this game or when we looked at this game, months ago. But yeah, if you're mad at Rico Dowdle, I mean, by all means, but that's just been a weird thing that kind of, floated into the ether as far as this week was concerned, in my opinion, at least. But speaking of my opinion, if you like it, if you think it's cool, you can see it on any level of social media. Like I said, X, Instagram, Threads at RJ Ochoa, TikTok, RJ.Ochoa. RJ.Ochoa@SBNation.com is how you email me, or as always, you can leave a comment down below, and I will do my very best to get to those. Schedule of events. This obviously dropped on Friday. Earlier on Friday, we did drop our Madden simulation. Cowboys Panthers. Accidentally put the black helmets on the Panthers. I think they looked kind of cool, but they will be wearing the silver ones in case you happen to watch that and get confused. No spoilers from me on the Madden simulation, but I do think you will find it interesting, to say the very least. And for what it's worth, the Madden simulation this season, the ones we've been running, have correctly predicted the winner of every single Cowboys game except for the Green Bay Packers game. Obviously, that was a tie, but it did correctly predict the Eagles to beat the Cowboys, and it did correctly predict the Bears to beat the Cowboys. So you never know. But go check out the game for yourself. That's in the channel tomorrow, Saturday, new video, Dallas Cowboys in Espanol, breaking down, or not breaking down, but offering my 3 predictions for the game in the beautiful language that is Spanish. So appreciate those of you who are watching and who are patient enough to deal with my slights and my errors and my stammering, because I'm having to translate in my mind. It's still a work in progress, but one that I'm really, really, really enjoying. So, okay, we got playoff baseball. We got big time NFL games. My Sun Devils taking on Utah. Let's go, Jeff Sims. Let's get it done. My Gators taking on Texas A&M in College Station. It's big sports weekend. I'm going to order some pizza. My son's a little sick, so we're just going to kind of, hunker down. He's okay. Just, standard type, flu stuff or cold stuff. It's just that time of year. You know how it goes. But appreciate those of you who will say nice things. And I hope your weekend is wonderful. I can't wait to see you on Sunday following the game. It's a noon kick, so I'll see you about 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And hopefully we're talking about a team that found their way north of 500 and is setting up for a big-time competition next Sunday at AT&T Stadium against the Washington Commanders. That's an afternoon kick, so our first opportunity for the Crazy Sun. Okay, let's go ahead and get out of here, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out, and we will see you next time.